In a seismic shift that has left the towering edifices of Genoa City's corporate landscape trembling to their very foundations, two dynasties have collided in a climax of betrayal, sacrifice, and unprecedented strategy. The once unthinkable has transpired. Cain Ashby, scion of the Chancellor Empire, has formally surrendered his hard-won shares of Chancellor Industries to Victor Newman. This capitulation, executed not in a corporate boardroom but in the shadowy, tense atmosphere of the Newman Ranch, marks not just a personal defeat but a tectonic transfer of power. Yet, even as Victor consolidates his dominion, another masterstroke is unfolding across town. Jack Abbott, backed by a revelation from an unlikely source, has initiated a daring, complex plan to salvage Jabot Cosmetics from the brink of obliteration. This dual narrative of surrender and salvation is weaving the most captivating and volatile chapter in Genoa City's recent history, promising repercussions that will echo through every family, relationship, and boardroom for years to come. The journey to Cain Ashby's moment of surrender is a tapestry woven with desperation, paternal love, and the inescapable gravity of Victor Newman's will. The chain of events was set in motion not in the trading pits of the stock exchange, but in the vulnerable heart of a family. Cain's twins, Charlie and Maddie, faced a life-threatening medical emergency. The only solution was an experimental, prohibitively expensive treatment overseas, far beyond the reach of even the Ashby Chancellor resources, depleted by recent corporate battles and Cain's own contested position within Chancellor Industries. With Lily Winters, his ex-wife and co-CEO, locked in a power struggle and the company's assets tied up in legal and emotional complexities, Cain found himself in an impossible bind. His love for his children, always his driving force and oftentimes his tragic flaw, propelled him toward a solution as dangerous as it was definitive. Victor Newman, ever the puppet master with a network of informants in every hospital and boardroom, learned of Cain's predicament. He saw not a tragedy, but an opportunity. Chancellor Industries, a legacy of the great Catherine Chancellor, has long been a thorn in Victor's side, a stable, respectable empire that has resisted his overt control. With Lily and Devin Hamilton at the helm, it remained a bastion of independence. Cain's significant shareholding, however, represented a critical vulnerability. Victor summoned Cain to the ranch. The meeting was not a negotiation, it was a presentation of terms. In his signature style, brutal yet cloaked in pragmatic benevolence, Victor offered to cover all medical costs for the twins, provide his private jet for their transport, and ensure they received the world's best care. The price? Not money, but allegiance. Cain's Chancellor shares, signed over irrevocably to Victor Newman. It was a classic Victor move, exploiting a personal crisis to achieve a corporate conquest, all while being able to frame it as an act of charity. "I'm not doing this for you, Ashby," Victor likely intoned, his voice a low rumble. "I'm doing it for those children. But business is business." For Cain, the decision was a torment. Chancellor Industries was more than an asset. It was his legacy, his connection to Catherine, the source of his family's stability and his own hard-fought identity. Surrendering it to Victor, the man who has tormented the Abbotts, his wife's family, and countless others, felt like the ultimate betrayal. He would be seen as a traitor by Lily, by Devin, by the entire city. The shame would be public and corrosive. Yet, as he pictured Charlie and Maddie's faces, the argument dissolved. His role as a father superseded his role as a CEO, a shareholder, a public figure. In a moment of devastating quiet, he picked up the pen. The surrender was complete. Victor, without raising his voice or cracking a smile, had annexed a kingdom. The news, inevitably leaked, has exploded across Genoa City like a financial atom bomb. Lily Winters is reportedly devastated and enraged, feeling a betrayal that cuts deeper than any romantic infidelity. "He gave our children's legacy to the devil," she seethed to a confidant, her trust shattered. Devin Hamilton, the moral compass of the Chancellor Empire, views it as a catastrophic violation of their stewardship. The Chancellor Board is in panic, with Newman Enterprises now holding a controlling, hostile stake. Employees fear a dismantling of Catherine's humane legacy. The Abbott family, already reeling, sees Kane's capitulation as a symbol of Victor's seemingly limitless reach. Billy Abbott, in particular, is torn between understanding a father's love and reviling the strengthening of his arch-nemesis. Kane himself is a ghost, haunted by his choice, praying the price was worth it, and now existing in a no-man's land between gratitude and utter ruin. Even as the dust from Kane's surrender begins to settle, a counteroffensive of brilliant cunning is being launched from the heart of Jabot. Jack Abbott, backed against the wall, has played a card that only he could play. Jabot's situation was dire. A combination of corporate espionage, orchestrated by Victor through proxies, internal strife, failed product launches, and the sheer weight of Newman's market dominance had driven the iconic family company to the precipice. Stock prices were in freefall, creditors were circling, and whispers of Chapter 11 were becoming shouts. The very soul of Genoa City, the Abbott family home, was on the verge of being extinguished. Jack, the eternal optimist and resilient heart of Jabot, was facing his darkest hour. Conventional strategies were exhausted. Kyle Abbott, his son and co-CEO, was scrambling but outmatched. Diane Jenkins Abbott offered steadfast support but no miracles. They needed a Houdini act. The key emerged from the past. In a series of tense, secretive meetings, a figure from the margins of the Newman-Abbott war came forward with critical intelligence. While the exact identity remained shrouded, with strong speculation pointing to Adam Newman, operating from his own complex motives of thwarting his father and seeking redemption, or perhaps even Sally Spectra, whose design genius is matched by her network of insider knowledge. The information was explosive. This source revealed not just the specifics of Victor's multi-pronged attack on Jabot, but something more valuable, a critical, hidden vulnerability in Newman Enterprises' own structure. The plan was not about a defensive, petty counterattack. It was about leverage on a grand scale. The revelation exposed a clandestine, potentially legally precarious overseas venture of Newman's, a venture that, if brought to light, could trigger massive regulatory fines, tank investor confidence, and open Victor up to shareholder lawsuits. More crucially, it provided a blueprint to a technological or patent-based weakness in a new Newman flagship product. Jack wasn't just looking for a lifeline, he was handed a sword. Armed with this nuclear option, Jack did not launch it publicly. Instead, he crafted a nuanced, three-phase strategy. Jack has quietly reached out to Genoa City's other victims of Victor, disgruntled ex-Newman executives, CEOs of companies Victor has crushed, and powerful international investors who view Victor as an unstable monopoly. Using the vulnerability as a compelling reason to act, Jack is forming a consortium. This isn't a merger. It's a mutual defense pact with capital. They are pooling resources to create a stabilization fund for Jabot, not as a charity, but as an investment in breaking Newman's stranglehold on the market. Simultaneously, Jack and his legal team, led by the ever-sharp Michael Baldwin, are implementing an aggressive, innovative shareholder rights plan. But instead of just diluting a hostile takeover, this plan is proactively designed to make Jabot inefficient for Newman to consume. It involves spinning off Jabot's most beloved, historic brand lines into a separate, family-controlled trust, overseen by John Abbott's ghost in spirit, making the remaining company less attractive. It's a surgical move to protect the heart while making the body a less tasty target. Understanding that markets run on perception, Jack, with the help of Christine Blair's legal savvy and Billy's media prowess at Restless Style, is preparing to launch a public campaign. It will frame Jabot not as a failing company, but as a beloved American institution being bullied by a monopolist. They will humanize the Abbott legacy, spotlight the employees, and subtly hint at the reckless practices of their competitor. This positions Victor not as a shrewd businessman, but as a predator threatening the community's fabric. This plan has, for the first time in years, unified the fractious Abbott clan. Kyle is leveraging his own connections and modern business acumen to manage the alliance. Billy, setting aside his personal demons, is weaponizing his media platform. Diane is the strategic confidant and emotional anchor. Even Tracy Abbott, from the Heartland, has arrived, offering not business advice but the unwavering moral clarity and family history that reminds them all why they fight. Jabot is no longer just a company. It is a fortress under siege, and every abbot is manning the walls. The surrender of Cain and the salvation plan of Jack are not parallel stories. They are on a direct collision course, setting the stage for a war that will define a generation. Victor now sits on an even larger throne. With Chancellor shares in hand, his empire is more formidable than ever. He will move quickly to install his own people at Chancellor, likely merging parts of it with Newman Enterprises to create an unervingly powerful conglomerate. He expects Jack's plan to be a final, desperate gasp. He may even see it as entertaining, a bug trying to sting a giant. However, Victor, for all his power, has two weaknesses he often underestimates: the unifying power of a family with its back to the wall, and the unpredictable wild card of his own children. If Adam is indeed Jack's source, Victor's greatest battle may be from within his own castle walls. The human toll, relationships in the crossfire, the human landscape is devastated. The Lily-Cain relationship, already fractured, may be destroyed forever by this act of perceived treason. Billy and Cain's brotherly bond is in tatters. Devon's life's work is under hostile occupation. Within the Newman family, Victoria will see the Chancellor acquisition as a triumph, while Nikki may worry about the cost to Victor's soul, what remains of it. Adam's allegiances are, as always, the city's most compelling mystery. And at the center, Jack and Victor are now locked in their most existential conflict since the death of John Abbott. This is no longer a feud. It is a war for survival and legacy. The philosophical stakes, legacy versus empire at its core. This saga poses the fundamental Genoa City question: what is the true measure of power? Is it Victor's model of absolute control, built on exploitation, intimidation, and the ruthless capitalization on others' misery, an empire of fear and dominance? Or is it the Abbott model of resilient legacy, built on family loyalty, public trust, and an ethical core that may bend but refuses to break, a fortress of love and memory? Cain's surrender represents the tragic cost of choosing family survival over collective legacy. Jack's plan represents the defiant belief that legacy, when fought for with cleverness and unity, can withstand even the most brutal empire. As Genoa City holds its breath, the next moves are fraught with peril. Will Victor discover the source of Jack's information and exact a terrible price? Will Jack's consortium hold, or will Victor find a way to buy or intimidate its members away? Can Cain ever find redemption, or is he permanently exiled? Will Lily and Devon find a way to launch a counter-coup within Chancellor? One thing is certain: the chessboard has been shattered, and the pieces are being rearranged for a game of unprecedented stakes. Cain Ashby's surrender was a moment of profound, quiet defeat. Jack Abbott, counter-strategy, is a declaration of thunderous, defiant war. In the space between these two poles, the future of Genoa City will be written. The battle for its soul has entered its most dramatic, perilous, and utterly compelling chapter yet. Tune in tomorrow. The war is just beginning.